fruity, not overly sweet. Whereas the citricity limeade, well, peach limeade is what it's. Alright, and we are live. So, greetings and salutations, people of the internet, and welcome to the bar. I am Sippy, your humble bartender, and this is What's on Tap. Anyway, What's on Tap is our weekly feature where we discuss what we've been playing, drinking, and vaping in the week previous, as well as what's going to be being played, drank, and vaped on in the week to come. A quick note, I am not sponsored by any of the brands which I mentioned, although I would like to be sponsored by Zamplebox. And there is a link in my panels as well as in the YouTube description for Zamplebox if you wish to join that. I'll be explaining more about them later. All of the commentary and reviews for alcohol and vape juice is meant solely for the individuals who are of the appropriate age for those things. Now, all that being said, getting the, I guess, legal stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and start off with games. As of the past few weeks, Breath of the Wild has been our main game here at the bar. This week, we made a great deal of progression, taking on two, not one, but two of the Divine Beasts. First and foremost, we deflated Windblight Ganon on Sunday. Probably the most fun of the Divine Beast bosses that I've taken on. A crap ton, as you can see here. Use of the slow-mo aiming, which hugely helped, and there goes Windblight Ganon right off the edge. That was actually clipped because that doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen, knock a Windblight Ganon off of the freaking Divine Beast, but it happened. And then last night we went ahead and also took on Fireblight Ganon. Now, for this guy, with the exception of the beginning of his second phase, this was a fairly easy fight. The beginning of his second form was a pain in the ass because I couldn't quite figure out how to take him on. Here's a hint: bombs. The answer is always bombs. Once you figure out that part for him, not a super difficult boss in the least. Now, moving on to First Drink Friday. Unlike last week, we only had two games that we played this week, and the first one was SteamWorld Heist. Now, SteamWorld Heist is a continuation of SteamWorld Dig, but instead of being a digging adventure, this one is a turn-based RPG. I absolutely loved it. It's a space western. It is an absolute joy to play. The downside to it, even though I loved playing it, I couldn't really comment over it because all I could do was think about what am I doing next, what am I doing next, what's the tactics that I'm going to be moving on. So this is probably going to be my next, my new waiting room game. The version that I was playing is the Switch version that's newly released. It's $20 on the Nintendo store, and that $20 will give you the original game that was released in 2015, plus all the DLC that came with it. Definitely worth play, regardless of system, and you can get that one on pretty much everything. Anyway, after SteamWorld Heist, we moved on to Mr. Shifty. This one is kind of cool, but it's mostly cool about the mechanic. It's a top-down game with this cool teleportation mechanic. You, as Mr. Swifty, can poof around the rooms, poof through certain walls, poof through bad guys, poof through all sorts of stuff. It's kind of like if Nightcrawler from the X-Men got his own game. However, the plot is super thin, but you're not really there for the plot, you're there for the game mechanic. I played this one for a while, up until the time that some asshats with flamethrowers started to show up, at which point I decided enough is enough, and I'm done. Alright, moving on to the Sippy and Dom show this week. We returned after our minor week-long hiatus, I guess, with Lethal League. This brawler uses baseballs as everyone's weapon, just one baseball, and everybody whacks it. You attempt to whack the ball at your opponent, it builds up speed, and if you knock out the other person, you win that round. Dom and I smacked our balls around at each other for a while, and I would love to play this one with a larger group. You can have up to 4 players in it at one time, and that would just be pure and absolute glorious chaos. Jury's still out on whether or not this game is actually a cricket simulator, because I don't think anybody knows what cricket is and how cricket is played, but I think this is the closest that I've come to figuring it out. Also, this week, before we move on to anything else, this week we actually do have a clip of the week. Okay, so this week also sees our very first clip of the week. This one was clipped by Dom on Thursday, and it actually made it on Twitch Fails, who went ahead and adjusted the volume, added some flavor text. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a sec.
Fucking climb. I don't even. Where the fuck? What are you doing?
So yeah, we got ourselves onto Twitch Fails. Yay for me, I guess. I don't know whether or not that's something to be happy about or not. But now moving on to beer for the week. Most of the week I did not partake in any tasty adult beverage. However, Thursday and Friday I enjoyed Mississippi Mud, which is one of my absolute favorite black and tans. But I'm gonna just briefly go over that one. It's a black and tan. It's a good black and tan. It's cheap black and tan, and it's delicious. But we're also going to talk about Magic Hat TFG, which is my IPA of the week. That's this guy right here. Magic Hat happens to be one of my favorite breweries, and it not necessarily one of my favorites, but it definitely ranks high. TFG, no idea what it stands for. It's a fine example of their handiwork. Hoppy with some crisp citrus notes and a good inclusion in. You'll see in there, I have this little multi-pack. I picked up their multi-pack, and that's what I'm going to be sipping out of for the next couple of weeks. And we'll talk about more about what's in there when we get into what's coming up in the next week. Moving on to this week's vapes, we had actually 3 as opposed to 2. It started out as just 2 that we were going to be vaping on, but 60 mil does not last me a whole week, so I bumped it up to 120 mil of all of my juices that I got from Sample Box. First we had Mango Berries from Confections. We also had Shamrock Shake. And finally the addition from for this week was Blue Raz Splash. Mango Berries was of the 3, it's definitely my top pick. It's nice and fruity, not too sweet, and all around tasty. Shamrock Shake it just was. I'm not a huge fan of it. I didn't like it. It didn't have a real flavor. It just had like this weird minty aftertaste, and that was it. It's like I'm vaping on something. Oh, and there's some mint. I didn't like it. Blue Raz, it ranks right in the middle of the 3 just because the other 2 are so far on opposite ends of the spectrum. It's not super sweet, it's not super sour, it's super subdued. So not what I think that a blue raspberry should taste like. Really should taste like blue raspberry lollipop. That's to me, blue raspberry lollipop. Otherwise it's just kind of meh. Moving on to the coming week, we are going to be continuing playing Breath of the Wild on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have the Giant Camel and Gerudo region to take on, but I think that I want to try and knock out some more of the shrines beforehand. I've gotten over half of the shrines completed, got over half of the bonuses from those shrines, and I want to be Mr. OP so that I can take on the Master Sword Trials. So that means finding the rest of the shrines and getting the rest of the upgrades so that I can do that. For First Drink Friday, we're going to be taking on Titan Quest. This is an action RPG, similar to Diablo. First released in 2006, it's now coming to consoles. In it, you are tasked with defeating escaped titans in ancient Egypt, Asia, and Greece. And we'll be trying it out 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard on Friday. However, for now, let's go ahead and take a peek at the trailer. Now you saw online multiplayer in there. I don't know if that's going to be cross-platform online multiplayer because it was a PC release originally and now it's coming to consoles. So not sure how that's going to work. I kind of hope that it's cross-platform because it would be kind of cool if I started to get into this and we could bring more people into it. Kind of similar to Path of Exile. I know that I kind of dropped Path of Exile. I don't really ever intend on going back to Path of Exile, but I'd like to find something that's within that Diablo niche that isn't Diablo or Path of Exile. Anyway, moving on to what's coming up for the Sippy and Dom show. Dom brought up a great game during this week's Sippy and Dom, which was Brawlhalla. This one I have previously played with a little monster, as you see here. And also at last year's MomoCon, I got to interview the devs. It's basically Smash Brothers with gods and more of a focus on weaponry as opposed to individual skill sets of the characters. Absolute blast to play. Hopefully my previous experience in this one will mean that I get to actually beat the crap out of Dom in a game for once, but whether that'll happen or not, who knows? Find out on Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. As for tasty adult beverages, I am going to be continuing to work my way through the Magic Hat IPA playlist with Blind Faith. According to Magic Hat, this one is supposed to be crisp with a hoppy bitterness. Won't be finding out until later this week, though. In an effort to kind of dial down my personal spending, but still provide you guys with the beer reviews, I'm going to be tapping into my funds. No joke, no pun intended, but I'll take it. Tapping into my funds for the sake of beer a little less regularly. I'll be drinking this one Friday and Saturday, and throughout the rest of the week I will be enjoying water. Look, your bartender can't always be drunk, alright? Then he starts discounting you on your drinks, and well, while that's a great thing for you, it's probably not the best for the bartender himself. And realizing that I went through 3 bottles this past week, I'm going to be continuing to keep in that mode for this coming week as far as vape juice goes, and we'll be sampling 3 juices this week, 2 of which are going to be dessert flavors, and 1 is supposed to be a fruity flavor. The fruity one is To Death, which is supposed to be like fruity with strawberry and peach as front and center. The desserts are Crumbleberry from Milkman, which came in this neat little milk carton case, which is a raspberry cream pie flavor, and strawberry cheesecake from Mount Pocono Vapes. I'll give you 3 guesses what that one's supposed to taste like, and the first 2 don't count. Moving on to the MomoCon front. If you haven't already, do check out momocon.com for info on this convention. It's coming up in less than 2 months. It's the end of May, May 24th through 28th. Dom and I are going to be there. It's down in Atlanta. It's a gaming, anime, and comic convention. We'd love to see you guys out there. You can check the website for the list of the current guests. Also subscribe to their newsletter, get your tickets, all that good stuff from momocon.com. And if you want to check out what was going on at MomoCon last year, you can check out my MomoCon interview playlist on the YouTube to see some of the dev interviews that I did while I was sicker than a dog. On that note, you may have noticed that there has been a subtle change to the MomoCon fundraiser bar down here. Well, that is because Dom and I had a weight loss competition, which I lost. The loser of the weight loss competition has to dress in a dress for half a day at MomoCon. And I decided that I'm just going to take that and kind of run with it. So, for MomoCon, I have set our fundraising goals with a couple of benchmarks. If we raise $500 of the $1,500 that we're asking for, I will wear heels in addition to a dress for that half day at MomoCon. If we raise $1,000 of the $1,500 we're asking for, I will stay in drag the entire day. And when I say I will stay in drag the entire day, I mean the full 9. Heels, dress, I will get someone to do my makeup, I will probably end up getting a wig and get my hair done. I will be in full drag for the entire day, regardless of what it is that's planned to be done that day, to include if we're going to be doing interviews or anything like that. Finally, if we happen to raise the whole amount, the $1,500 total dollars that we are asking for, by the 20th of May, I will treat you guys to Drag Week, which is just going to be pure embarrassment for myself. But for an entire week of streams, I will be dressed in full drag if we raise the entirety of that $1,500. And what's more, for every $100 over that $1,500 that we raise, I will add a day to it. So the more money we raise, the more days you get to laugh at Sippy and drag. Regardless, Dom and I are going to be out there from the 24th through the 28th. I'll be getting out there on the 23rd to start checking us into the hotel and all of that good stuff. And we hope to see you there as well. Finally, if you aren't already, do pop onto our Discord for on and off stream fun. Keep an eye on the Twitter and the Instagram at Sippy Cup Games for all of those social media sites for regular updates from the life and times of Sippy Cups. Share the stream, share your clips, share our Discord, let all the awesome people you know join and become part of our community. We grow thanks to not just Dom and I's efforts on stream, but you guys telling everybody how awesome it is to be part of the Talking Boxes. All of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We got another great week of content coming up for you guys. Plenty of Breath of the Wild, plenty of fun games for both me solo as well as Dom at the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I raise my glass to you. Laters.